All right, Mo, what do you think about the Ohio State and Kentucky matchup?
I like Ohio State in the game, and that's not a knock on Kentucky. I love the way the Wildcats are playing. I thought their run in the SEC tournament was better than anybody's who won a conference tournament with the exception of Connecticut. And I think they deserve more credit than they're getting for what they did in the second half against West Virginia. You don't often hear Kentucky referred to as gritty. The Wildcats were gritty against the Mountaineers. Ohio State, though, I think is the best team in college basketball. Now, they may or may not win the title, but what they've done over the first two games in the NCAA tournament has done nothing to cause me to move from that position. They've been dominant, winning their two games by 62 points. I think what's going to be interesting is how Kentucky manages Jared Sullinger. Does it come down to a one-on-one situation? Josh Harrelson exclusively on Sullinger, or somebody else down low exclusively on Sullinger? If that's the case, I think he has a big game. And let's face it, if not, Kentucky's going to have their hands full with Ohio State's outside shooters. Diebler, Leidy, and Buford, all really good from behind the arc, and Ohio State has taken quality threes and made most of them in this NCAA tournament, averaging 56% in the first two games. I think from Kentucky's standpoint, obviously how Ohio State manages and handles Brandon Knight's going to be interesting. Do they try Aaron Craft, who's a great defensive player, or in the spirit of letting him focus more on running the Buckeye offense, do they put the tough task of guarding Brandon Knight in the hands of David Leidy? There's a little bit more length. There's a little bit more quickness. There's more experience guarding players as good as Brandon Knight. I think that's going to be awfully interesting. Brandon Knight obviously has the ability to carry a team, and he showed it, especially in the first half against West Virginia. I think the key for Kentucky is Terrence Jones. Terrence Jones is an amazing talent. He's a guy who probably would be taken in the first 15 picks in the NBA draft if he came out after his freshman year. But he's a guy who coasts through games, and I think he's a guy who's really easy to guard. I don't think he knows how to handle double teams, and I think Ohio State can afford, and granted some other guys have stepped up, especially in this tournament for Kentucky, I think the Buckeyes can afford to run multiple bodies at Terrence Jones and see how he handles it. He's not a guy who handles duress all that well. He's obviously a guy who can disrupt things defensively. He's a good shot blocker, and he's an incredible athlete. But the Terrence Jones I've seen all season long doesn't have the ability to help Kentucky get over the hump in a game of this magnitude and in a game that's going to be this tough. So I think it's going to be a really good game. I think Ohio State's going to win a close one, a relatively close game. And by the way, you can hear it live on the home of Kentucky basketball, ESPN 1530. Give me your thoughts on UK Ohio State. Email me, mo@espn1530.com, or send me a tweet at moegger1530.